Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Akhanda Man. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Guru Stotram. Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Stavaram Jangamam Yattam Yatkim Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapiyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Sarvam Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Guru Deva Deva. So we're doing the Panchadashi second chapter. We're on the sloka 15. And Vidyaranya is trying to analyze the Maya Shakti. So Maya Shakti has not been specified in the Chandogya Upanishad. All it says is what was there before existence was Sat, pure existence alone, without any Sajati, Vijati, Swagata Bedhas, any differences of any kind. And that existence, Tadaitshata Bahusyam Praja Eti, it saw and wanted to become many, and he became many. That's what its statement says. So there is no question of Maya specified in the Chandogya Upanishad, but it is specified somewhere else. It says Maya Dhyakshena Prakriti Suyati Sacharacharam. Under my guidance only the Prakriti projects Sacharacharam, the movable and immovable things. And that Prakriti is same as Maya. Mayant Prakritim Vidyat. In the Svetaswara Upanishad, Maya is same as Prakriti, and Prakriti under my guidance projects. So the Maya has been introduced in other scriptures. And what is the nature of Maya? Was Maya before the creation started? So Maya is that Shakti or power because of which one became many. So becoming many, one becoming many means a change of state. A change of state can only be possible under some driving force. So there is a force which I cannot see, but the very fact that there is an effect from a cause implies that there has to be a force contributing to the change in state. That's what even the Newtonian physics also says, that force is that which makes a change of a moving object or changing direction or a stationary object to move. So any movement or any change in the state is contributed by a force. So the very fact that there is a change involves that there must be a force contributing to a change. So even though force I cannot see, So therefore, there is a creation. One was the only there, which is Ekameva Advitiyam. It's one without a second, and it became many. So there is a change of one into many, and therefore there has to be a force. And where is the force? The force has to have a locus. It cannot hang out just like that. So there has to be a locus for the existence of the force, and there is nothing other than Brahman. Therefore Brahman, the locus for force, is also Maya Shakti, is also Brahman. So Brahman cannot have anything because Ekameva Advitiyam, without anything. Therefore Maya is as though force appearing when there is an appearance of many. So it's not real creation, it's an only apparent creation, and the apparent creation is brought about by the apparent force. So that is the whole Advaitic philosophy is. So therefore, what is the nature of Maya? Is it existence of the nature of existence or non-existence? The question was posed. Because if you say it is of the nature of existence, so Maya is existence and there is a pure existence. Now you have two types of existence, and that violates your fundamental statement that there is only one, Ekam Eva Advitiyam. So therefore Maya cannot be of the nature of existence. So only other possibility is Maya should be of the nature of non-existence. If it is non-existence, Maya cannot create anything because it has to be somewhere. So therefore it is not of the nature of Sat or not of the nature of Asat. It is neither, you can say it exists or as real as Brahman, or you cannot say it is unreal, completely unreal, called Tucham. Tucham is like Vanjya Putraha, like the son of a barren woman, non-existent, cannot produce anything. Therefore, it has to be there since the effects are there. At the same time, it is not of the nature of absolute real. Therefore, it is not of Sat, not of Asat. Says you are making your own theories, says all other Acharyas, all other Darshanikas criticize Advaita. There is no statement of Maya, and you are creating a new variety which is neither existence nor non-existence. If it is not existent, it has to be non-existent. If it is not non-existent, it has to be only existent. You are bringing a third variety, and there is no proof for it. So he says, yes, there is a proof, and he quoted from the Rig Veda mantra, that is Nasadiyam, and that's what we did last time, Sloka 50. Na sadasin no sadasit, na sadasin no sadasi, tadanim kim tvabhuttamaha, tadam kim bhuttamaha, sajyogat tamasat sattvam, sajyogat tamasat sattvam, nasvataha tan nishedhanat, nasvataha tan nishedhanat. Na sadasin no sadasit, tadanim kim tvabhuttamaha, sajyogat tamasat sattvam, nasatva tan nishedhanat. So na sat, na asat, asid, na sat asid. So neither non-existence was there, neither existence was of the nature. That means Maya is neither of the nature of non-existence because it has to exist, and for one to become many. At the same time, it is not of the nature of existence itself because existence is one without a second. So it is changing. So therefore, it is not of that type. So it's called Sadasat Vilakshanam. So Tadanim is before creation. So what was there? So that it is a Maya that kim tu abhut tamaha. Kintu, but abhut tamaha. Tamaha means here it's darkness. Darkness is ignorance. Ignorance is of the nature of Maya. And it means what is Maya? We don't know what it is. Anirvachaniyam. But it is that which produces the effects. So from the point of individual at the local level, Jiva point, it's called ignorance. From the point of Ishvara, it's called Maya. Same thing. So, Abhut Tamaha. And then you can say it is neither existent or non-existent is Maya. Then how can it exist? It says Sajyoga Tamasa Sattvam. It has the support of existence as the basis. Therefore, it is there, but it is not really there. For every mithya or maya entity, mithya entity, there has to be a support which has to exist. If something is changing, there has to be a changeless entity which is changeless and supporting the changes. And that's what is the whole conservation law is. And law of mass conservation is, if something mass is changing into one form to other form, there has to be a conservation of mass, that which is changeless in all the changes. That's what you call balancing the equations. So you have to balance, because the mass this side should be mass that side, and at least mass is conserved, and so is energy is conserved. And Krishna says the pure existence itself is conserved. That's what in the Bhagavad Gita. So in the Bhagavad Gita, in the sloka 16, it says, in fact, that existence can never cease to exist, and non-existence can come into existence, cannot come into existence. So therefore, Sadyoga Tamasaha Sattvam. Therefore, Sadyoga means in association with Sat, in contact with the Sat. Tamasaha, this Maya, is Sattvam. It appears to exist, and therefore, and is enough to cause problems for it. That is one becoming into many. So how can one become? And that too, what was there before is of the nature of consciousness. It says Tadaikshata, means it is of the nature of consciousness, and which is infinite consciousness. How can it become into something which is unconscious entity? How can you produce something out of consciousness into unconscious entity? That is not possible. But what is not possible can be possible, because that's what is Maya is. Agatana Gatana Patiyasi Maya. Shankara says that which is not possible, it is possible by the, and what is called, that is called is Maya. So it is na swataha tanishedana. Na swataha sattvam. It doesn't have its own existence as a basis. It depends on something other than itself for it to exist. Just as our friend snake. Snake does not exist. Rope snake. It's not real snake. Rope snake doesn't exist. How does it exist? Who supports the rope? Rope supports that snake. Where is the snake? There, where the rope is. So, is it a snake on top of the rope? No, it is only snake there. So, how does it exist? The existence of the snake is supported by the rope only, right? So, that's how the existence of Maya is supported by the Sat. But when I am looking at the snake, I am not able to look at the rope that is there behind it. But I had to understand and analyze the snake cannot exist without a rope. Therefore, once I know it was a rope, I say, where was the snake? I thought it is a snake, but it's actually a rope. But that is called subjective projection, because I am seeing the snake, you are not seeing the snake. Whereas there is an objective projection, is like a mirage water. Mirage water is when there is no water and it is like dry sand, but I say there is a water there, and we supporting, dry sand is supporting the wet water. So it is the adhyasa, that's what called superimposition. That is what is called Maya. So sattvam na swataha tan nishedanat says, therefore there is no independent existence for Sat. Therefore don't count the Maya Shakti as something separate as two. That's what being emphasized here. In the next sloka, sloka 51. Atayeva dvitiyatvam Atayeva dvitiyatvam sunyavannihi ganyate naloke chaitra tat sakyoho naloke chaitra tat sakyoho jivitam likhyate prathak. Together, Atayeva dvitiyatvam sunyavannihi ganyate naloke chaitra tat sakyoho jivitam likhyate prathak. So atayeva, therefore means wherefore, before whatever we said in the past, because it is of the nature of, it's not absolute nature of, it is of the nature of Sat and Asat Vilakshanam. It is neither Sat nor Sat, but it is a power, and power rests on the locus, and that is Brahman. So can you say too, therefore atayeva ditiyatvam, there is no duality implied here. Duality is only apparent. Apparent duality you cannot count. Just as I cannot count ring and the gold as two entities. It is ring eva, gold. So gold cannot be counted as separate. Give me a ring and take your gold, or I will take gold and you take your ring, and you cannot do that. So therefore, so atayeva, so therefore ditiyatvam nahi. Sunyatvat, like non-existence, you cannot count like that. Hi ganyate, therefore it cannot be counted. So Maya and Sat, you cannot say there are two, because what was the scripture says, it is one without a second. That statement is still valid, but apparently there are two. Appearances there is a problem, and there is no problem in having two appearances, even though it is one. That's what is, like you have in front of the mirror, you can have, if you have parallel mirrors, you can have infinite images, and even though there is only one source, but you can have many projections. Naloke chaitra tat shakyoho jivitam likyate pratago. So you cannot say, you cannot count as a power as separate from the locus. Why? Because I have a speaking power. And you cannot say one is Sadaji and then separately speaking power. Speaking power is locused in me. So therefore, it is expresses only when I speak. Otherwise, you won't know that it even exists also. And naloke, in this world, chaitra jivitam likyate pratakhu. So nobody writes different biographies for. Here either you can say Chaitra is name and his power. Suppose Chaitra is a person who has a name, so tat shakyoho, if he has a power, and you don't write two biographies, one for Chaitra and one for its power. It's only Chaitra has a power, so there is only one biography. Jivitam here is a biography cannot be written as two separate entities. So it is pratak means a difference, a separateness cannot be made, just as in the Brahman there is a power Maya, and the Maya and power, you cannot write about Maya separately and about Brahman. There is only Brahman without any, but apparent Maya is there as a Shakti. So that is what the statement. Therefore Maya is there, at the same time it is Maya. Maya also, ya, ma, sa, Maya. That which is not there but appears to be there. That's the definition of Maya itself. And therefore, the Advaitins, they are criticized as Mayavadins, were actually Brahmavadins. What is there is only Brahman. Maya is only brought in to explain something which is otherwise inexplicable. And Maya is also of the nature of inexplicable. And that's what is this statement is. Because one is becoming into many. Okay, then the objections. Says, the objection is, this is a Purva-Paksha, it says, in this world, Shakti is very powerful. Because when there is a power, power itself is powerful. When there is a power, people respect, right? Without a power, nobody cares. So whenever there is a power, there is a counted. You say it cannot be counted, so he doesn't like that statement. So he says power is counted. There are a lot of people, powerless people, but there is a power people are the ones who really can be counted, and that statement is being made now. Sakyadikye jivitam chet, Sakyadikye jivitam chet, vardhate tatra vruddhikratu, vardhate tatra vruddhikratu, na shaktihi kintu tat karyam, na shaktihi kintu tat karyam, yuddha krishyadikam tatha, yuddha krishyadikam tatha. Together, Sakyadikye jivitam che vardhate tatra vruddhikratu na shaktihi kintu tat karyam yuddha krishyadikam tatha. Says Shakti adhikye, by adhikya means increasing the power. Jivitam vardhate, one life grows by increasing my purchasing power. Everybody respects me and I can do a lot of things, and people crave for power in this world. So this world is counted only by the people who have power, otherwise nobody cares. So if you say, why do you say Shakti cannot be counted? You just now said Shakti is there with the Maya and with the Brahman, and therefore Maya Shakti has to be counted. You cannot ignore it, and therefore you have 1 and 2. Dvitiyam is there. Don't tell me that one should not count the Shakti. Iti chet means if you argue like that. So he is presenting, the first part is the argument of a Purvapaksha. Purvapaksha means an objector saying that you have to count Shakti. Says, na Shakti hi kintu tat karyam. So nobody counts the power. I have a lot of purchasing power, but if I don't use it, what good is that? So power is only countable only if it is used. That means only when I have the executing the power, I have speaking power. So if I don't speak at all, then what good is my speaking power? So it is as though it is used, it cannot be counted only when it expresses as activities, because action is required. Force, a potential force cannot be counted unless force manifests in terms of its execution. Then only we say, yes, it can be counted. So Vardhate means people who have, because there was some story, one beggar died. He was sitting on a box, and in the box he had millions of dollars there, but he was sitting and begging. Didn't know that he has, or maybe knowing, still he was begging. So what good is that power of having that? Having that power but not able to use it. So it is as good as not. So you cannot count him as one of the millionaires, even though he was a millionaire. So na Shakti kintu tat karyam. Unless one can have, karya means products or effects of that power manifest, then I say, yes, this guy can execute because he has a power. In the same way, all other powers cannot be counted. Only what can be counted is when it is executed. Just as Yuddham and Krishyadikam. So Yuddham is when you're a warrior, he can fight a lot, but if he doesn't fight at all, then that's why we don't know whether he has it even or not. So it's useless. And Krishi Adikam, Krishi means agriculture, etc., has to be executed. Then only we can say he has the power to do it. So power by itself, a potential force by itself cannot be counted. Only when it executes into actions, then we say it is there, because we know that the power is there, or a force is there only because the products are there. So only by the products you can say there is a power. Only when he executes and imposes, he has a power. Otherwise nobody will know. And so this is the objection by the Purvapakshi, and he says you cannot count Shakti. You can count perhaps the executed, the effects you can count. So you could have said this is a Maya, you cannot count it. It is a Mithya, therefore it cannot be counted. But here Vidyaranya is giving little bit roundabout arguments, because that was being used by some of the Darshanikas. So he is taking their position in order to criticize them. Okay, 53. Sarvatha Shakti Matrasya Sarvatha Shakti Matrasya Na Prutag Ganana Kachitu Na Prutag Ganana Kachitu Shakti Karyam Tu Naivasti Shakti Karyam Tu Naivasti Ditiyam Sakyate Katham Ditiyam Sankyate Katham Ditiyam Sankyate Katham. Together, Sarvata Shakti Matrasya Na Prutag Ganana Kachitu Shakti Karyam Tu Naivasti Ditiyam Sankyate Katham. So now, sir, You say the products can be counted. Okay? Then there were two. One is Maya, one is the Brahman, and now Maya Shakti products. Now we have two. Says Sarvata Shakti. Say anyway, Sarvata Shakti Matrasya na Pratak Ganana Kachitu. There is nowhere in this world that one can count the pure Shakti, only powers, potential powers as separate. Ganana, if cannot. Sarvadha na, never is made. Only Shakti Karyam tu. So if you say then the products are there, and why can't you count? It says products are not there before creation. Products came after the creation. So before creation there is nothing other than Sat. Therefore Karyam came after creation only. So Shakti Karyam tu naiva asti. There is no production of, there is no creation for me to count as created beings, many. Therefore what was there? Only pure existence alone was there before. So Dvitiyam Sankhyate Kadam. So how can you say that there is a duality in the before creation? What was there is only pure existence alone was there. So what was there before is only gold, and it became many ornaments. Now how should I count? They say gold plus should I count all ornaments? But when the gold is alone there, it has a potential to become many ornaments. So when it say gold alone was there before creation, we can start. And now we have that gold itself became many. Itself became many because it became many ornaments. Now you cannot still count, even though products are there, it cannot still count. Before that they cannot count. Even after that also you cannot count, because what is there? Only gold in the form of many ornaments. So there is no real countable entities as two. So this is one of the criticisms of Advaita. That's why he is addressing. This is Maya Shakti. Where was that? There was a Maya, and therefore existence plus Maya was there, and therefore there are already two. How can there be Advaita? It's a violation of Advaita itself. Says no. What we are doing is, one is the higher and another is the lower reality. We are differentiating that which is pure existence, which is of the higher nature of reality, and creation is of the lower nature of reality. So where do you say all these theories, you are coming your own theories to justify? And says, read Bhagavad Gita also in this 7th chapter. It says one is the all is lower my creation, and there is a higher creation. Apareyamitastvanyam prakritiim vidhimi param. Says all this beyond that is that which is dharyate jagatu, that which supports all that is something else. Now this up to that he is trying to analyze that Shakti is not separate. Now he is going to tell us that Shakti is only part of Brahman. So that's what is the next. And he will again tell us that Brahman doesn't have any parts. So we are going to a systematically analyze system where Shakti is only one part, and at the same time Brahman doesn't have any parts. Is this a contradiction? So there is no contradiction. Why? He says gold itself became many parts. Gold itself became ornaments. This at the same time most gold is remaining in somewhere. Where is that locked up? Port art is so gold itself remaining there. At the same time part of gold has become many. So I can have a situation where there is one, at the same time gold is by itself is partless. It is just a gold. Gold you cannot part it. At the same time I have parted it. So there is a parts, at the same time no parts. Both statements can be possible only because we are talking about two orders of reality. So from the part of Paramarthika Satyam, that's what essentially Advaita is, from the point of Paramarthika Satyam, there is only Ekameva Advitiyam, one without a second. So the statement was, before the creation there is only that, now after the creation that itself became many. So itself became many means, and not everything became many, only part of it is becoming many. That's what he's going to tell us now. Na Krishna Brahma Vrittihi sa Na Krishna Brahma Vruttihi Sa Shaktihi Kintu Ekadesha Bhak. Shaktihi Kintu Ekadesha Bhak. I might have split it things. Gata Shakti Yatha Bhumau. Gata Shakti Yatha Bhumau. Snigdha Mrujjeva Vartate. Snigdha Mrujjeva Vartate. Together. Na Krishna Brahma Vruttihi Sa Shakti Kintu Ekadesha Bhak. Gata Shakti Yatha Bhumau. Snigdha Mrujjeva Vartate. So Krishna Brahma Vritti Sa Shaktihi. Sa Shaktihi means that Shakti. So Shakti is female. Maya is also female, and that's what is causing all the problems. So that Sa Shakti, that Shakti, na Krishna Brahma Avrittihi. Na Krishna Brahma Avrittihi, it's not pervading total Brahman. So it's not pervading the total whole Brahman, because Brahman is infinite. So only it is pervading only part of it. Kintu Ekadesha Bhak, because it's only but localized only in part. It says. So how is that? He gives you an example here. It says Ghata Shakti, the power to become a pot. He's taking an example here. The power to become a pot is not in every mud that you can see, only in the mud that is wet. Even though the power to become is there, but to become a pot, you need water also. It's a mud plus, with the water only you can make the pot. So Ghata Shakti Yatha Bhumau, in the whole earth, where there is a people, where the brittle material is there, rocks are there, all that, only that part of mud only can have a potential to become the pots. So Srigna Mrutyeva. So Srigna Mrutyeva Vartate. So in this world that you see, that in the power to become, the potential power to become the parts is only limited in some places in the Bhumi, in the earth. In the same way, this Shakti, power to become many, is limited only in part of the Brahman. That's what the statement. Sir, you are making your own statements. First you say there is a Brahman, and so it's all infinite. Then you say it has a Maya, which is not even specified in the Chandogya. You say because it became many. And that Maya is a power. Now you say there is only in limited place only Maya. So where are you getting all this information? Because ultimately scripture has to be provided, because this is not a logic cannot be used, so therefore scripture has to be provided. So here he is going to take Purusha Suktam as a basis here. Padosya sarva bhutani, tripadasti swayam pravaha, Ichekadesa vruttitvam, Mayaya vadati srutihi, together, Padosya, that's how maybe the original has to be counted. Padosya sarva bhutani, together. Padosya sarva bhutani, tripadasti swayam pravaha, ichekadesa vruttitvam, mayaya vadati srutihi. So Shruti vadati, Shruti says this. Maya, about Maya. What is it? Padosya visva bhutani tripadasya amritam devi. So in the Purusha Suktam, it says only Padam, means one part of it is Sarva Bhutani. Whole creation comes into only the one part of that Purusha. Tripadasti Swayam Prabha. Tripada, the three-fourths is Swayam Prabha, self-shining beyond. And this is the scriptural statement, and this statement can be interpreted, or it is interpreted in different ways. It says, Padosya sarva bhutani, all things that are I see or objects of creation is only one part. what is the objects of creation? That which can be quantified or qualified. So therefore, whatever the objects of creation is, that which has gunas, that which means all saguna Brahma comes under padosya, one part only. That which is beyond nirguna Brahma, that which cannot be any qualified something, that which cannot be, but it is there as highest reality, Swayam Prabha, which is self-shining, and that is that which is Nirguna Brahma, occupies the 3/4 of the whole thing. Means only one part has become many and 3/4 remain as Nirguna Brahma. That is Advaitic way of interpretation. The other way of interpretation is called the Leela Vibhuti and the Divya Vibhuti. According to Visishta Advaita, this same statement is this is all called Leela Vibhuti. What you are seeing in this world is Leela Vibhuti. And when you go to Vaikuntha, you are going to see Divya Vibhuti, because it's shining all the time there. So therefore, it is where the Lord is, therefore it is Divyam. It is where Daivam is there, that which is presence of the Lord Narayana, and that Vaikuntha is the beauty of Vaikuntha is Swayam Pravaha. The beauty of that Vaikuntha is brilliant, and it is 3/4 brilliant than what you are seeing here. So that is what explanation of the, I mean, not they are explaining here, but generally explanation of the Purusha Suktam there from the Visishta Advaita point. So in essence, the statement here is only one part has become many, and for becoming many you need a Maya Shakti. Therefore one part only has a Maya Shakti, because to become many there is a power power is required. So only one part of Brahman is occupying this Maya Shakti. In the other six there is no Maya, it is beyond Maya, and beyond Maya means that which is pure, the Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Iti Ekadesa Vrittitvam. In this way, that part occupancy for Maya, Vrittitvam, is Vadati Srutihi. Srutihi Vadati. This is how the Shruti has explained. So this is not my theory, it is the theory explained by the Shruti itself in the Purusha Suktam. Okay. Then he is going to quote some more scriptural statement. Okay, he's going to take the Bhagavad Gita sloka now. Vishtabhyahamidam Krishnam, Vishtabhyahamidam Krishnam, Ekam sena stito jagat, Ekam sena stito jagat, Iti Krishnarjunayaha, Iti Krishnarjunayaha, Jagatastweka desatam, Jagadastweka desatam. Together, Vishtabhyahamidam Krishnam, Ekam sena stito jagat, Iti Krishnarjunayaha, Jagatastweka desatam. So first line is from the Bhagavad Gita. It's in the 10th chapter, sloka 42, Vibhuti Yoga. And the last sloka is Athava bahunaitena kim jnatena tavarjuna Vishtabhyahamidam Krishnam ekam sena stito jagatu. So exactly quotation itself comes into the first line. Vishtabhyamidam Krishnam ekam sena stito jagatu. Iti Krishna Arjunaya aha. So this Krishna told to Arjuna in the Vibhuti Yoga. So what did Arjuna say? What did Krishna say? Athava bahunaitena kim jnatena tav Arjuna. Oh Arjuna, I am giving you so many of my vibhutis, this, that. He gave so many list of everything, and in the end I said I cannot really give many. There's so many that I cannot even tell, and everything is my vibhuti only, and to know it is impossible, everything, because whatever you see is my vibhuti only ultimately. And Vishtabhyaham idam Krishnam. So therefore, aham idam Krishnam jagata, this total world, ekam sena, by a part, Vishtabhya, is having, supporting the whole thing, is sthiti, I am remaining as that, supporting the whole universe only by part of it only. So ekam sena, one part only supporting the whole universe of mind. And everything else is beyond that. Even this, I cannot tell you what the glory of mine is. And now you are talking about glory beyond this universe that you can see. That Tripada is even much more gloriful Vibhuti. I cannot describe that. So everything becomes a Vibhuti. So this has to be understood also, because Vibhuti Yoga comes, this is the last sloka of Krishna. So how does a realized person see or act? What does his understanding will be? Understanding of the, they say, Aham Brahmasmi, right? That's what the statement. I am Brahman. So when he comes down and look at the whole world, what will be his attitude of that? His attitude will be just like the statement. Everything becomes, so when he identifies himself with the local body, mind, intellect, and he sees the world of plurality, then it becomes a Vibhuti. Not that he doesn't see, he still sees, but he sees the substratum that Lord is pervading the whole thing, or I am pervading the whole thing. Either way, the statement is understood. That means everything becomes the glory of the Lord also. Everything, there is no exception. Whether it's a terrorist or whether it's the guy who is killing the terrorist, everything is part of the total glory of the Lord himself. That is the outlook of the Jnani. So what does he do? Whenever performance is done, he doesn't have to do anything, but if at all he does, it is only for benefit of the totality only. That means it becomes a Loka Kalyanam. So here he justified from the Shruti statement that what Brahman is only occupying only 1/4 or little bit. So he's going to give one more sloka of support for it. Sloka 57. Sabhomim vishvato vrutva Sabhomim vishvato vrutva Atyatishtat dashangulam Vikaravarti chatrasti Shruti sutra krutorvachaha together. Sabhomim vishvato vrutva atyatishtat dashangulam vikaravarti chatrasti Shruti sutra krutorvachaha. So here the first line again is coming from the Purusha Suktam. Sabhomim vishvato vrutva atyatishtat dashangulam. So Sahasra Sirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sabhomim Vishvato Vrutva Atyatishta Dashangulam Purusha Vedagum Sarvam. So that this statement is from the again, it says Sabhomim Vishvato Vrutva Saha Bhumim. This Lord is Bhumim, the whole world, Vishvato Vrutva, entire universe is all from all sides. Vrutva means, Vishvato Vrutva means from all directions, is essentially indeed Atyatishta, is occupying, at the same time beyond that is Dasha Angulam, is 10 inches above. 10 inches, 11 inches, it's not the number of inches, what means it is untouched by all this universe that is undergoing any change, but himself is changeless. So Atyatishta Dashangulam is only meant for to imply that there is something beyond whatever you see only names and forms, the whole universe that you see, galaxies and so on, it looks like infinite. At the same time, what you only see is only 1/4 only, and what is there is beyond, and that beyond is, see, 10 inches above means, so I won't touch him with 10-foot pole, we call it. That means even untouched by that is Paramarthika Satyam, and that is the highest reality. That is my nature. That's what is the Saha Purusha. That is the nature of the Purusha, and that who is from the Purusha Suktam, and that is essentially from the Shruti. And also the second statement. So he's quoting again another Purusha Suktam statement that is only part occupying the Maya Shaktis, only is occupying part of Brahman only. And Vikara Varti Chatra Asti. So Vikara Varti Chatra Asti. This statement is from the Brahma Sutra. So it says Shruti Sutra Krutor Vachaha. Shruti Sutra means Brahma Sutra. So Brahma Sutra Krutaha means the one who has written the Brahma Sutram, and that is Badarayana, which is identified by the Acharyas as Vyasa. So Vachaha, the statement of this Badarayana in the Brahma Sutra, it says somewhat similar. What is the statement? In the Brahma Sutra, chapter 4, section 4, mantra 19, it says Vikaravarti cha tathahi sthiti maha. So that is the Vikaravarti. So you are only quoting a little bit of it. So Vikaravarti cha atra asti. So Vikaravarti means that which does not undergo any modification. Cha atra asti. It is there, beyond. So whatever is modifying is only part of it, and that is only the creation. There is that which is unmodified, that absolute existence is there, and atra means that above, beyond is the question, which is atyatishtat dashangulam. That is beyond, that is what is the 3/4 of Brahman. So the statements are essentially Maya occupies only part of Brahman, not complete Brahman. So up to that, he's talking about, my notebook is over, so I have to bring another notebook. These are very good books. Each sloka one can write. I have to refer to Shankara's screen. Say, sir, you are saying parts and parts. Okay, you just now before that you told that Brahman doesn't have any parts, and now you are parting the Brahman. So how can that be? So that question is being addressed now. That's sloka 58. Niram sepyamsham aropya, Niram sepyamsham aropya, Krishnem sevetti pruchataha, Krishnam sevetti pruchataha, tadbhasha yottaram bhrute, tadbhasha yottaram bhrute, srutihi srotru hitaishini, Shruti Srotru Hitaishini. Together. Niram sepyamsham aropya, Krishnam sevetti pruchataha, tadbhasha yottaram bhrute, Shrutihi Srotru Hitaishini. Sir, you are saying Brahman, one side without parts, because Ekameva Advitiyam. Ekameva Advitiyam is that which cannot have any divisions of any kind, and therefore it is partless because it is infinite. Infinite cannot have any parts. Now you are making part of Brahman is occupied by Maya. So how can that be possible? You are contradicting yourself. If you say like that, then we say Niramse api, although Brahman is partless, Niramsaha api, Amsam aropyam, there is part is superimposed. Scripture says one side that it is partless because Ekameva Advitiyam, but part is aropyam. Aropyam means superimposed on Brahman. And Krishna in the total Brahman, the Amsam aropya, having part is occupied. Now, amse sati pruchataha. So, if you say there are no parts, if you ask there are no parts in Brahman, how can there be parts? Okay, this is because tad bhashaya uttaram srutihi brute. So, it is using a language of common man or student who wants to understand where is Maya. Where is Maya? How can you say Maya? Maya is there because the effects came into picture. But effects cannot come into picture because infinite is cannot modify itself. At the same time, you are seeing it. Therefore, how do we explain all these things? So, we, for the time being, we are using an explanation for understanding it. Until I understand the whole explanation itself, you have to go beyond. So, that has to be. So, here, Tadmasha tad bhashaya uttaram bhrute. So that bhashaya uttaram sruti bhrute. So in the same language as the student and teacher is being familiar, is asking a question and answer. The question and answers are only in the Advaita. It's not in the Advaita. In the pure Brahman, there is no question and answers. It's only at the level of discussions, so that it is an upayam. Upayam is a convenient to explain how do I see creation. Why do I see creation? If there is no Brahman, Brahman is pure consciousness, it is infinite. How can there be a creation? There cannot be a creation. But why am I seeing it? Okay. Yes, you are seeing. So it has to be called adhyaropa apavada. You start with something and then go beyond until you understand it. So, in physics we learn there's a Rutherford model. And then they after that learning all that, it says that's wrong. And then we learn something else. So what is wrong? Why should we study wrong one? Why can't we go to other one? To understand the other one, we need to understand this one also. So in the same way, we understand this is creation. God is there. You do puja, you do all that. And then you go beyond. There is no God. There is no creation. All that. But if you tell in the beginning itself, it becomes a misleading only. So therefore, there is a creation itself. We have 80 theories of creation, 80 or 88 theories of creation itself. And, Brahma created, then this four-headed Brahmaji created, all those cock and bull stories are given and accepted until you go, he says, what is that? Says that what you are praying is not God. And that only told to a Vedantic student who understood and went beyond. For you to other people, if you say what you are praying is not God, then he will start destroying the temples. So it's not that way. So it is Srutihi, it says Srutihi, Srotru Hitaihi, Hitaishini. That Sruti is telling in such a way because it is in order to do good to the student. Srotru Hitaishini, the one who is listening, in order to be compassionate to the student who is listening to, who wants to learn the scripture. Because of the compassion, it is taking step by step, initially providing an answer, and then that is negated at the level which is negated at the third level, like that, until you come to the highest, where you understand the whole thing is nothing but Maya only. There is nothing really creation itself. That's what in the Gaudapada Karika is. It says there is no creation because Absolute cannot create. Then what is it? It is just nature by itself. Even that, who is the guy that said, but nature created, not God created. So, nature could be, that scientist statement, right? Nature created. But natural laws are there. But when you say, when the Karika, when the Gaudapada says, it is natural, means it is Swabhavam. The creation itself is Swabhavam of the Lord, and you cannot. And that same thing is called Leela. That's called Ajativada. We analyze that in the Mandukya statements. Okay. So he's still continuing the Maya. So he's almost like beating the whole aspect of Maya until we understand it. Sattva-tvamashrita shaktihi, sattva-tvamashrita shaktihi, kalpaye sati vikriyaha, kalpaye sati vikriyaha, varna bhittigata bhittau, varna bhittigata bhittau, chitram nana vidhim tatha, chitram nana vidhim tatha. Together, sattva-tvamashrita shaktihi, kalpaye sati vikriyaha, varna bhittigata bhittau, chitram nana vidhim tatha. So, Sat Tattvam. Sat Tattvam means the absolute nature of the Sat. That means the pure existence. Ashritam Shaktihi. The taking Ashritam. Ashraya means that taking a shelter on that. That means supported by the existence. This Maya Shakti says Kalpayet. Says it is projected. Kalpana is also imaginary projection. It's not a real projection, but an imaginary projection. So kalpayet sati sat vikriyaha. So in that sat, it is a modification is as though modification is projected on it. And so that's how it is. Because the simplest example is the dream example, where one mind, total mind of the waking mind, when you go to deep sleep, is projected a plurality. Now we ask, where is that mind? It's not the total mind. Total mind is because he knows chemistry, physics, everything, lot of things. But only projected is only part of it projected that are of vasanas that are there, that suppression of those vasanas, only you project that in the creation of the dream world. And that dream world, if you look at it, it is only a projection. It's not real, because when you get up, the whole thing disappears. Therefore, it is only superficial projection on top of it. How it is projected? By the support of a Chaitanyam only. Inert mind cannot support, but a conscious entity that I am is also there in the dream world, and with the mind I am projecting. The total mind is my Maya Shakti. Total mind with the power to create. And that projects only part of it there, whatever that is for the dream world. And here he is giving another example. Varna Bittigata Bhittau. So Varna, colors, Bittigata is having quoted on the wall. So Bhittau Chitram Nana Vidham Yatha. So if you take a wall and you put all sorts of designs all over in the wall, and you see people, you see the whatever you now, rivers, mountains, anything that you can project it, but they are not there. It's only apparent projection on top the wall. Wall is actually the supporting everything, and they are only appearing on the wall, and that is Chitram Nana Vidhim Tatha. So if you go to Madras, what there, because it's a lot of, Madras is very dirty compared to Bangalore and all that. But if you go, the walls, now they have painted, because a lot of people are, using as a bathroom all over. So they are putting the drawings of beautiful dancers and all that all over,
So
the pictures, but all over. So you see, Nana Chitram, Varna Chitra is there, and otherwise what they do is politicians will write, vote for this and vote for that, all sorts of things, and destroying the walls all over. Now they are putting a beautiful designs all over in pictures, and that reminds me when I look at this Nana Chitra. But on top of it, they are putting, So up to this, we talked about the Maya Shakti. With that, the Maya Shakti comes to an end. And we have some more, right? So from now on, he's taking the creation aspects one by one. Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi, in the 5 creations, and take each one element, and that what is the property of the element? He already discussed initially. Shabda is a property of Akasha, Shabda, Sparsa, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. So each one is one property. The second one has that property plus additional property. That's how we have 5 by the time you come to the Bhumi, it has all the 5 properties. So there, from the base of the one property he has, now he is going to talk about from Atma only Akasha came. So one is the source, another is the product. So the product should have the source as a basis. So for any creation that you see, if I say ring came from the gold, so the ring has its own properties of the ring, that is ID, OD, all those things, plus it should have property of the gold also, because the gold is supporting that. So here he is going to take, because I cannot see Sat, but I had to see the creation entity, created entities. By using the created entities, I had to see that which is coming in all these things. And that is how I had to meditate in terms of, from whatever I see, I had to recognize that which is supporting all that. Just whenever I see different drawings on the Madras, I have to see there is a wall supporting all that. In the same way, I have to see Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa. So this is going to be addressed from now on, from 60 on. This is where we stop. So we did up to 59. Okay, let's do Purnamada. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om